Hi everyone, so today I want to have a little play around and show you how to create one of these floral compositions. And there are simpler ways, so you could minimize it and just put one flower in and leave it at that, and then just pay a little bit more attention towards the vase, and you could do some doodling on there, create some patterns and whatnot and have fun with it. Or you could pay more attention to the actual composition, and today this is what I want to show you. You could create smaller ones or you could create slightly bigger bouquets. I'm going to use the new clear stamps to create these, but as well as the floral set, which is currently being manufactured and is going to be back in stock in a couple of weeks time, towards end of February basically. So the vase, as I've mentioned before, if you haven't seen that video, the vase that I have here, so 3 styles of a vase, so this is the same one as this one, just upside down. It's great for that because it has a very narrow kind of neck. And then if you wanted to put a bunch of flowers, it's better to use it this way up and then have a wider opening. And then you have the third one here. So all of these are basically from FOTD set. If you have those, you can pull them out. This is also going to be back in stock together with the florals stamp set as well. So these are bigger. So these are the A6 compared to the A7. So the face base, I used this way up to create this vase and then turning it upside down to create this one here. For the smaller round one, I used the bun, which I rotated this way to have the opening here. As you can see in the face base, there's a little dip here, which is perfect for that kind of vase look, like an opening. And then once you have filled all of your flowers, you can just close it up at the back. So that's essentially what I'm going to do today. I think I'm going to use the bun to have a smaller, rounder vase, and then we will build a nice countryside type of a bouquet. So these small flowers, for all 4 of them, were inspired by wildflowers in Britain. So we live in the countryside and I really love flowers in general, so whenever I see any flowers I get really excited about them, and the spring is coming slowly, so I'm just getting in the mood for it. So this one is the wax flower, pansy, lavender and buttercup. I haven't decided yet exactly what I'm going to use, but I will use something from the 4 flowers, and then I will use a couple of fillers as well, because when you're building a bouquet, you do need some smaller flowers that you just, or even foliage and greenery that you can add to make a more balanced bouquet. And that's what I want to show today, how to create something that is visually pleasant. So there is a little technique to it where you can place things slightly off to a side rather than in the middle. When you just place a flower right straight in the middle, it's a little bit harder to make it look a bit more organic. So always tilt it a little and then find smaller elements to fill them and make the piece more complete. And play with textures as well. So you can see here I have different textures and shapes of flowers, so that's quite nice as well. So I'm going to get my face stamp set out and I'm going to go straight for the bun. Now I haven't mentioned, but you will need an ink pad that is quite nude, because this is how I like to work and this is the style of it that I'm going to share to you today with you. Okay, so I'm going to rotate the bun upside down so that the opening is at the top, and then I will ink it up, turn it around and kind of think of where I want this composition to be. If I would want to create more examples for you, I would do 2 in 1 page. If I want to create quite a full floral arrangement, I'll probably just put it around here somewhere so that it's nicely positioned and sort of in the middle. And that's it. So next thing I'm going to do is, the way I clean these off from an ink like that is quite simple. Just on a dry, clean piece of paper, you just stamp it a couple of times. There's really not much to clean up. It's the archival inks that take a bit of time to fiddle around. By the way, I'm kind of sort of almost, I'd say, probably have another, 20 pages left or something. Getting to the end of this Midori MD, and we've been talking about this with a few of my viewers, and I kind of thought to upgrade to the larger size because these ones have been discontinued and it's really hard to get any remaining stock. It looks like pretty much everything has been sold out. So I just can't get a sketchbook that is too big, because this is pretty much, I've got about 3 inches on each side, the bottom and the top of my desk, which is the space that is free for me to work. So I can't go for a too big one. Now I have been thinking of what to upgrade to, and I just wanted to very quickly share that with you because I already received it yesterday. So this is the Strathmore Mixed Media, and it's the 100% cotton archival quality acid-free sketchbook. I have seen this being used by a girl called By Ban here on YouTube, and it just looked so good and I really wanted to try it. I loved the little bit of texture. It has very nice color to it, and it just feels really nice. And yeah, I can't wait to use it. It's the soft cover. The soft cover I really like. It kind of has this faux leathery, super smooth kind of feel. I'm just, yeah, can't wait to try it. And it's the 190 GSM, so it's not too thin, not too thick. Kind of an upgrade, really, I felt like. And it's got 64 pages, which is nice and generous. When you have paper that is thicker than that, you'll end up with less pages, and you know, just kind of gets used up faster, I find. But yeah, so I thought I'll just let you know that this will be the one I will be moving in after I'm finished with this one, because it's also a good size. So it's a little bit bigger. I just wanted to show you quickly. So if I line them up like that, it is basically exactly the same size, as you can see from the top right to the side. It's the same format, just slightly bigger. It's about an 1.5 inches bigger. Let's see, where are the inches here? These are not inches. So we've got about 3.5 centimeters both sides, I would assume. This way it's about 4 centimeters. So yeah, it kind of feels like I'm not really going into a huge journal, but it does give me a little bit more space. So when I want to demo something for you, I can actually demo 2 or 3 items here because of the sizing of my stamps, and it kind of works nicely that way. Also the quality of the paper. Anyway, back to this. So we've got our vase stamped. Now you have a choice of these 4 flowers, and I quite like the wax flower and this flower. It's going to be very flowery, but for the matter of fact of, I couldn't use, for example, all of these 3. Well, you could if you wanted to, but they are similar size flowers and you want to change the texture and the shapes around a little, so hence I might use those 3. Or I might use something else from here. Okay, I think, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Right, so I'm going to use these 2 flowers. So I've got Buttercup. Now, here's a great example when I was saying that this 7 centimeter acrylic block won't fit the entire stamp because they're slightly longer. They're roughly a centimeter longer, but the pansy does fit. The others are a little bit longer. However, when I'm going to do a bouquet, I don't want the entire of this stamp to be like out. I want it to look like it's inside the vase, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place it in. And the thing that you should start with actually is your main flower. So I'm thinking in this case, because the flower that has most detail is this one. So I'm going to make it my main kind of attraction. And I will see where I want it to start. So I think I'm going to start it from here, like that. And I'm going to avoid the last leaf at the bottom there. The reason I'm not doing it in a black ink is because I want to line everything out, and if I have gone over something and overlapped, I will be able to kind of correct it when I'm lining everything out at the end. So this one is going on. And I placed it slightly in because this is where the neck of the vase is going to be. So to the side, not in the middle, because I don't want it to be like too centralized. Unless you're just doing one flower, then you're perfectly fine to go that in center. Right, next one we have this one. This one is going to be more of a secondary flower because it's slightly area, it has less detail, so I will try to make it, if I can, make it a bit shorter. So basically I'm nestling it in this area. If you can see, I have nice space here to do that in, but I have to think of the opening at the same time. So roughly here. So in that case, I'm not going to go over this bit here. So this is how far I'm going to go in. I still have a bit of gold left from the Galaxy Gold, which I'm absolutely loving. And I don't mind it because it looks pretty. It's this gold ink here, kind of shimmery. Alright, so we're going in now, like so. There we go, so that's perfectly nestled into that area here. Don't worry, when something is a bit short, you can absolutely draw it in and correct it that way. So that looks already very pretty. If you wanted to, you could repeat just one flower over here, but I am not going to do that because there's no space in there. Now I'm going to think of smaller filler flowers to do that with. So I'm going to get out the Florals set, and so something like this could look quite nice. It's got a bit more detail, but in this case might be a bit too much. So I want something a little bit more area. the little rose that we could put. Like a rosebud. That could look quite nice. I love the rosebud because you can repeat it throughout the entire... Yeah, I'll do the rosebud. And then I will do these. These are a few of my favorites, but I do love all of them, to be honest with you. These are great for just everything, but I don't know if I will use them. I'll just take out a couple. It's easier that way. And then these are must-haves. So these green leaves, I love them so much that I wanted to even like design maybe a small set with just leaves on there. Just have different styles of leaves. And let's see, so I'm going to use this small, for smaller details, I find a small acrylic block a little bit easier. By the way, I haven't mentioned this, but if you have like wrist pain or arthritis or something, I find that the rounder acrylic block is a lot easier on your wrist. You can hold it anywhere you want, and it's really easy to rotate it. The grooves here help to hold it in place as well, which is quite comfortable. So it just nests your fingers like that. Okay, so back to the rose. Just a couple of things I realized I haven't mentioned before. So the rose is fantastic. This rosebud is so adorable because you can literally just place it anywhere you want, any angle. And it just looks super, super cute. I love kind of repeating it throughout. So I might just add it in a few more places. So you have to think of how it's going to connect and where it's going to go in terms of the branch of it, or the stamen, whatever it's called. So I'm done with the rose. The rose goes back in and it's already starting to look really pretty. With the addition of these wildflowers, I think you can make so much more now. So with these are a little bit small, so I might add some height to the bouquet. So if you want to add some height, what you can do is, I think that would look quite pretty. And then down below we could add some greenery. So if I like the way this looks here on paper, I can just kind of first position them and then stick them. So there we go. Again, looking onto the opening. So the opening was here between the two flowers, and what I'm going to do later is connect this bud here to this one, and then it's going to go inside. So we created some height. Before, this was the highest point, but I did want to have something a little bit airy, so to speak. I call it airy because it doesn't have that much detail and it's got a lot of space around it, not too much happening like here. So I wanted, I find it in a bouquet quite beautiful to have these elements. Right, so I'm going to skip this little one because it is already nicely full, but I do want to add a few of these greenery bits, which without it, it's just something is not quite there. So I'm going to just put one here, and that will be the final bit. You can go as simple or as detailed as you want it. You could really build even a bigger one. If you're working in a bigger journal, you could definitely work on creating. Actually, in this case, I'm going to pretend that this is the leaf from the buttercup. So I'm connecting it straight to buttercup. And that looks really pretty now. If you wanted to create a leaf to go and sort of fall onto the actual vase, you could do that as well, but I'm I'm quite happy with this composition now. Okay, so I am going to stop it at this because I can see it's half an hour video. So I will do a separate video where I will show you how to line things out and how to connect them. Like you see, flowers are hanging a little bit in the air, so how you do that, and then also what the watercolored version looks like. So I will use some watercolor for there, and you can see how to do that as well. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.